If you give me the next 14 minutes, I'm going to show you how to talk to the camera while you fish, so your videos don't have to rely on the catch to be interesting. Most fishing creators avoid the hardest camera moment, the quiet moment. No bite, no fish, no action. Just you, the lens, and that awkward feeling of, what am I supposed to say right now? Welcome to the Fishing Channel Lab, where I analyze what the biggest YouTube educators are teaching and apply it to fishing creators just like you. And today we're breaking down how to handle that exact moment, so viewers feel like they're fishing with you, not just watching you fish. The camera moment most fishing creators avoid is usually the moment where the video is either won or lost. Not when the fish bites, not when the rod loads up, not when something exciting finally happens. It's that quiet gap before the action where the viewer either feels like they're part of the trip or they feel like they're just watching footage. And that's the problem most fishing creators don't notice. They think the camera is there to just capture the trip. But the camera doesn't automatically capture the experience. You have to communicate it. So in this video, I want to break down how to talk to the camera while fishing, without feeling fake, without overdoing it, and without waiting for the fish to make the video interesting. That right there is how a lot of fishing videos feel. Not bad, just empty. Now watch what happens when you communicate the moment. The wind is pushing into this bank, so I'm going to start here. If they're feeding, this should be the first place that it happens. Same water, same cast, but now the viewer has context, and that context creates connection. The first part is eye contact. When you're talking to the viewer, look into the lens. Not the screen, not yourself, not somewhere off to the side, but the lens. Because to the viewer, that feels like you're talking to them. And this matters a lot in fishing content. Because fishing is a lot of dead space. You're walking to a spot, you're tying a knot, you're picking a bait, you're waiting for a bite, checking the wind, looking at water. If you don't know how to talk through those moments, the video starts to feel empty. But now when you look into the lens and explain what you're seeing, now the viewer has something to follow. I'm going to start on this bank because the wind is pushing bait in. I'm switching to a smaller bait because they're swiping at it but not committing. I don't love this spot, but if there's one fish here, it should be on that shade line over there. That's not just information, that's connection. You're letting the viewer think with you, and that makes them feel involved. Here's a simple rule. When you're making a point, look at the viewer. When you're showing a detail, show the detail, then come back to the viewer. That little reset matters because if you explain everything while looking away, the viewer feels like they're eavesdropping. But when you come back to the lens, they feel included. The second part is energy. And this is where a lot of people get uncomfortable because talking to the camera while you're fishing feels unnatural at first. You're standing there alone. Maybe someone walks by. Maybe your buddy is watching you. Maybe you feel like an idiot talking to a little black lens. So you shrink. You talk quieter. You act less excited. You try to be casual. But on camera, casual often feels flat. The camera steals your energy. So if you feel normal in real life, you may look low energy on video. That means you have to give the camera a little more that feels natural. Not fake, not loud, just more present. If your normal energy is a 5, this camera may show it as a 3. So you need to bring a 7 to look like a 5. That's the game. First, low energy. We're going to try this bank and see what happens. Now with camera energy. We're going to start on this bank because this is the first place I'd expect a bite. If nothing happens here, then I know I need to change fast. Notice the difference? I didn't yell, I didn't fake hype. I just showed up like someone was actually there with me. Because there is. The viewer is on the other side of that lens. The third part is playing with your voice. Energy is how much presence you bring. Voice is how you shape the moment. And most small creators use one voice for everything. They use the same voice when they start, when nothing happens, when they get a bite, when they lose a fish, when they explain a bait. And that makes the whole video feel great. But fishing has emotion built right into it, so use it. There's hope, doubt, frustration, surprise, confidence, confusion, relief. Let the viewer hear those shifts. When you're unsure, sound unsure. When you're excited, let yourself sound excited. When the day is getting frustrated, let the viewer hear it. When you finally figure something out, let that moment land. A flat voice makes a fishing video feel flat. So instead of just reporting the moment, perform the moment. Don't say, we haven't caught anything yet. I'm going to try this other spot. Say something like, we've been here 30 minutes and nothing has touched this bait. So either they're not here or I'm completely fishing this wrong. I'm going to move down that shaded bank over there and see if that changes anything. That does two things. It shows the problem and it tells the viewer why the next move matters. Same thing when something goes wrong. Don't just say, dang, I lost him. Say, no, that was the first good bite in an hour and I just gave it away. Now the viewer feels the cost. And when the adjustment works, don't just say, got one. Say, there it is. That was the change. We moved off the bank, slowed down, and that's the first real bite. Now the catch has meaning. Not because the fish is bigger, but because the viewer understands what changed. That's your job. Don't just tell us what happened. Make us feel why it mattered. And if that feels hard, the issue may not only be your voice. As one of my favorite creators, Vin Jiang, says, a monotone voice comes from a monotone body. So the fourth part is body language. Body language is not about acting big for no reason. It's about making your communication visible. A lot of fishing creators get stiff on camera. They hold the rod, they look down, they talk quietly. They barely move. And because their body is flat, their voice becomes flat too. Your body and your voice, they're connected. If you want to sound more alive, move more. Point to the water. Show the spot. Hold up the bait. Turn your body towards the camera. Use your hands. Let the viewer see what you're thinking about. Bad version. Yeah, I think they might be over there, so I'm going to try this. Better version. I think they're sitting right off that grass line over there. So I'm going to throw this underspin just past the edge, and I'm going to bring it through as slow as I can. Same idea, but now the viewer can see what you mean. That's what body language does. It turns your thought process into something the viewer can follow. You don't have to perform like a TV host, but you do have to give the camera something human to watch. Because a fishing video is not only about the fish, it's about the person guiding us through the fishing. This is why some creators can make a slow day watchable. They don't disappear until the action happens. They stay present. They talk through the decision. They let you feel the frustration. They explain the adjustment. They keep you connected between the bites. That's the difference between recording a trip and hosting a video. The fifth part is talking to one person. This is a simple shift, but it changes everything. Don't talk to YouTube. Don't talk to everybody. Don't talk like you're making a school presentation. Talk to one fishing buddy. Imagine one person is watching. Maybe they're a small creator. Maybe they're a bank fisherman. Maybe they're trying to learn why you pick that bait. Now talk to that person. If you're fishing a pond like this, here's what I'm looking for. If you've ever had a fish follow a bait but not eat it, this is what I'm trying next. If you're new to this, don't overthink it. Start where the wind is pushing in. Now the viewer feels included. They're not just watching you fish. They're learning how you think, and that's way more valuable. The sixth part is knowing when to talk. This is where a lot of creators go too far the other way. The answer is not to talk constantly. You don't need to fill every second. You can take a pause. You don't need to commentate every single cast. You don't need to turn a quiet morning into a podcast. You talk when something changes, when the plan changes, when you notice a clue, when you're confused, when you're about to try something new, when you finally figure it out. Talk to the camera. Those moments are the bridge between the action. And without bridges, the video feels like random clips. The first spot didn't give me anything, but I did notice the water was clearer down here. So I'm switching colors and fishing this shade line next. That little check-in keeps the viewer with you. It tells them where we are, what changed, and why the next part matters. So instead of only recording cast, fish, try recording the thinking. I thought they'd be shallow, but I haven't seen any bait. I just had one short strike, so I'm wondering if this chatterbait is just too big. So the sun just hit this bank, so I'm going to move to shade. This is probably my last good spot, so if it doesn't happen here, I'm just out of options. That's what keeps the viewer watching, because now they're not just waiting for a fish, they're waiting to see if your read is right. Now here's the simple practice plan. On your next trip, record a 10-second setup before you start fishing. Look into the lens and answer 3 things. What are you trying to catch? Why might it be hard? What is your first plan? It's windy, the water is dirty, and I've only got about 2 hours, so I'm going to start with a moving bait to see if I can find some active fish. If that doesn't work, I'm going to slow down and try a frog. That little moment does so much work. It gives the viewer context. It creates a question. It makes you sound intentional. And it gives the viewer direction. Then record short check-ins when the day changes. Not every 5 seconds, not every single cast, but when there's a new reason for the viewer to care. No bites yet, so I'm not staying here much longer. I just saw bait move right against that bank over there. This is the first real sign that they might actually be shallow. Now your video has momentum, and momentum is what keeps people watching. The final part is being as big as the camera needs. When you're talking one-on-one in real life, you can be smaller. But on camera, especially outdoors, you need more presence. There's always wind, water, background noise, distance, movement. The camera needs you to be clearer than normal. That means speak with intention. Face the lens. Lift your voice. Use cleaner sentences. Don't mumble while looking into your tackle box. Don't explain the most important part while you're looking away from the camera. Don't make the viewer work to understand you. I don't know, I might try this one. They might eat it. I'm going to switch to this black and blue chatterbait because the water is dirty. I need something that the fish can find faster. That's clear. That's direct. That respects the viewer's attention. And this is the real lesson. Better fishing content doesn't only come from better fishing. It comes from better communication while you're fishing. The catch helps. The gear helps. The editing helps. But your presence is what carries the viewer between the exciting moments. So before your next fishing trip, don't just think about what you're going to fish. Think about how you're going to communicate it. How will you open the trip? How will you look into the lens? How will you bring more energy? How will you use your voice? How will you use your body? How will you talk to one person? How will you check in when something changes? Because the camera isn't just watching you. The viewer is on the other side of it. And if you can learn to talk to that person clearly, energetically, and like they're right there with you, your fishing videos will immediately feel more alive. The fish create the payoff, but you have to create the connection. And that connection starts before the bite ever even happens.